Welcome to Silver Linings Talk Show. Look who we have here. We have Wendy Haller. She is an award-winning author, and we'd love for you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you're up to.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. Yes, I am an author now. I'm a former special education preschool teacher. I did that for almost 20 years, and now I'm a published independent indie author.
Cool. What is an indie author? I'm just curious.
So there's two ways of publishing. It's traditional, where you go through one of the big 5 publishing houses, or independent, where it's almost like pay to play. Like, remember when your kids were in school and they pay to play a sport? We're indie authors, we pay to play in the industry, and so everything is self-funded.
Okay. Well, we would love to know how you became an author. Like, how did you get there?
I've always been a writer, and I graduated with a journalism degree. I just didn't have enough confidence in myself when I graduated to actually put my writing out there, and now I can honestly say I didn't have enough life experience. And so as we talk more, you'll see I definitely write from life experiences.
Nice.
And so I ended up going into teaching. I taught, like I said, for almost 20 years as a preschool special education teacher. And then I was taken out of work due to I have psoriatic arthritis, which is a chronic progressive illness. And when my doctors took me out of work is when I took on this authorship.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. To be able to step into that space.
It must have been a hard decision,
Yeah.
when you're kind of thrust into this, okay, you're done with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's interesting when you have a career. Like, I thought I was going to retire as a teacher. That doing anything else was not even on my radar. Like I said, I always wrote. I wrote for myself. My family knew I'd shared my poetry and stories with them. However, when I was taken out and my doctor said because of my disease, I'm immune compromised, and I work with, fragile little germy preschoolers, and my doctor, and we had another round of COVID surge. I had been on intermittent FMLA, and my doctor was like, you can't go back in the classroom.
I think that Diane might have a question that leads
Relates.
right into that
Oh,
storyline.
sure.
line.
Yeah,
Yes.
Diane, go ahead.
Yes, hi Wendy, so great to see you today.
You too.
I'm curious about how, if you could share your perspective on how your recent health challenges have impacted all that you're doing today with your career and your life trajectory.
What's interesting about this disease is every day is different, and I never know. So a lot of it is really having a lot of grace with myself. My son is really the one that kind of gave me the push to really embrace my writing and start putting it out more publicly. And he basically said, Mom, you're home now. Like, this is your time to do it. And after, I had about a month where I was feeling really sad because I couldn't go back to work. I had, we have mom guilt, I had teacher guilt. And then it was like, okay, I can sit here and feel sorry for myself, or I can take advantage of this opportunity and finally do what I always in my heart wanted to do. And so that's kind of been the trajectory of me writing. However, there are days that I can and can't, whether it's pain or I can't focus. Weather is a big indicator for this disease, and there's really no rhyme or reason. So I also have to have grace and know, okay, I can't today, and that's okay.
Yeah, I love that you're, in a sense, okay with that. You realize it and which is why you're choosing this.
Yeah, and it was definitely a hard lesson. Like, I had to, we all go back and forth where it's like, I should be able to do this, and this is, why can't I? And you want to push yourself further. And then it's just knowing that the further I push myself, the harder my body is, or the longer it takes to recover. So it's finding that balance.
It makes me think about, the saying of why is this happening to me, to kind of switch it to why is this happening for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it sounds like the for me is where your son kind of did the little push, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And was like, hey mom, I think it's time for you to take this opportunity, and this is happening for you.
Yeah, exactly. And it really, the most amazing part of this whole experience has been the fact that, again, I've always loved to write, but once I started, it was like this floodgate opened and I can't stop. Right now I'm in between where I finished my novel, it's at the publisher being formatted, it's coming out July 19th, so I have this space and time now. So I get this itching and I have to, so I'm working on a short story, and the same thing happened when it was at my editor. I did another short story, so it's like this floodgate opened, something that had been dormant in me for so long finally just kind of burst out, and you're right, it's because this time came for me.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
You know, so speaking of that,
Yeah.
take us back to the earlier days when you had your initial career out of college.
Yeah,
You know,
so
you're winning Emmys and
Yeah.
things like that. Tell us that little story, because kind of what you said initially, you said, I didn't have the confidence.
yeah.
But
Well, and it's interesting because, like, I think the most amazing part about life and that I've learned over, the last, 40 years, 30, 40 years is that we can keep evolving.
Absolutely.
And we can keep evolving into different versions of ourselves, or maybe the better or what we were always meant to be. And so when I graduated with my journalism degree, I had an internship at a local news station who hired me. I was working in the graphics. I gravitated to that because I like the creativity of it. And I ended up getting a job at ESPN. And I joke that I went to ESPN, I met my husband, and I left. But I was in sports broadcasting for 7 years. I traveled a lot, and one of my dreams was always to go to the Olympics. And through my job, working for NBC Sports, actually, because I was freelancing at that time, I was able to do a summer and a winter Olympics.
That's amazing.
Which was, it was amazing. It was such a great experience. So I got to accomplish that. But what really happened to take me out of that field was I was away. I traveled 3 days a week for work, and I was away, and my babysitter saw my son roll over for the first time. And I was like, nope, I want to be there. I want to be with my child. I want to be there and have these shared moments. And I had always teetered on education as another alternative. I knew that what I was doing in sports broadcasting wasn't going to be the ultimate career. I just wasn't sure, but that was the deciding factor. And like I said, I was fortunate. I did 2 Olympics. We won Emmys from our broadcast. It was a great experience. I came out with my husband, and
So Emmys and
my husband, yeah, and 25 years this year. So
I love that you put it that way, though. You're just like you. Everyone else might be sitting there going, "Oh my gosh, but you had this amazing career. How could you leave?" And that wasn't your
And
priority.
share when you were young too.
Yeah. I left. I did that for 7 years, but I really have to honestly say I felt fulfilled. I really did. And I think doing those Olympics and doing the events and having the experiences I had, I was okay. I didn't regret any of that.
And one of the things that we had talked about too before was how other people responded to you deciding to leave this amazing, stable, probably very adventurous, exciting job.
Yeah.
And how is that?
Oh yeah, they all thought I was crazy. Yeah, absolutely. Because there's that, you're working for ESPN or you're working for NBC Sports, and I was, traveling all to these amazing places, and other networks and stuff. And yeah, it looks glamorous, and it was a lot of fun at the time. And I did get a lot of family pushback, like, what are you thinking? Why would you give that up? And I'm like, but I want to be a mom. And I don't want to lose those opportunities with my child, you know, and again, like I said, I felt like I had accomplished what I wanted to.
But you also have to have a lot of confidence to be able to make that decision and be able to stand firm with that decision when there's other people who are giving the pushback.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember when I had my exit interview with my boss at ESPN, and he was like he even said, like, what are you thinking? Like, what are you, crazy? And I said, I never want to look back on my life with a woulda, coulda, shoulda. And I just felt like this is the time, and I need to do this. And it was a lot of like one foot in one door, one out the other. It took a few years to do the full transition because, you know, it was like I had a career, you know, and it was hard to give up a lot of those opportunities that came. So it took me a bit to transition to get to the point with myself to be like, oh, I'm really doing this. I'm doing this, here it goes. And then when I finished my last job, it was like, and I'm done. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. When we spoke earlier, you talked a little bit about generational trauma.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was also a transitional point for you in writing too. Can you discuss how there was this permission?
Yeah. So my novels deal with generational trauma and generational healing. And I write, obviously you write what you know, but I'm such an observer of people of the world. And again, having been a teacher for so long and having meetings and conferences with parents, and that always spoke to me about how we can carry so much of that trauma in our backpack. I always say the generational backpack, and how are you going to let it go? And a lot of my poetry and my writing, I deal with those issues. Like, are you just going to say, I'm done and put it down and walk away? Or are you going to take it out piece by piece? And I think you get to a certain age as a woman, whether it's you're going through menopause or, you know, where you just, things shift in you, and it's like, how long am I still going to carry this? And I think I got to that age, which is why I feel like I'm writing now as a published author, because I've had those experiences where my readers can read my books and relate.
I know you brought some books.
Yeah, and I think the next question kind of addresses where you're kind of headed.
Yeah.
So Diane, I think if you could.
Well, I want to know all about your book projects and poems, children's books, novels. What have you done? Yeah.
And what you brought today.
Kind of like you were just talking about generational trauma and how these have progressed from poems to children's books to novels, because you kind of brought a sampling of them right there.
If you want to show what you brought.
Sure. I have always been a lover of stories. I had a wonderful journalism teacher that you would bring in and pitch a story, and she'd go, oh, good story. So that always stuck with me, a good story. I love a good story. And storytelling, and I am an avid reader myself, so I really engrossed myself in storytelling. When I began writing really to publish, I have my book of poetry, which is a compilation of 30 years of poems. I use my poetry as a diary.
Okay.
And so that's a compilation. So that is those changes from those teen years of who am I, where do I belong in this world, to, you know, when you get to a certain age, I'm in my 50s, of this is me, this is what you get, you know? And so it follows that trajectory. And then my children's books came from my experiences in my classroom or as a mom, or conversations I had with my parents. How can I support them?
Do you mind?
So, my first one is called Maggie Malone and Her Imagination, and it really stems from when we came out of COVID and kids really didn't know how to play because they hadn't been given the opportunity to play with other kids.
Right.
They'd been isolated. We call them our COVID babies.
Yes.
And so this is just a book on how to model. Maggie and Maggie keeps wanting her tablet, and Mom's like, no tablet, let's play. And so Maggie's mom models to Maggie how to create a pizza party. Oh. And then in the end, Mom is so excited because Maggie's using her imagination. So they're used for teachable moments.
Absolutely.
Which is what, we did a lot of in preschool. So that's where my children's books stem. And I published my poetry book and my first 2 children's books, and then I wanted to prove to myself that I could write long form.
Yeah.
And that's where I started with the Flanagan Girls. And originally it was going to be a story about a couple who were bringing their 2 families together and learning how to raise their kids in their own way, when this one says we should do this and when this one, and and the merging of 2 families. But then as I was writing it, the oldest sister, Becca, is tapping on my shoulder, and she's like, no, that's my story. That's for the next one. And it's so crazy because your characters, you almost feel like a schizophrenic because your characters all of a sudden really start having conversations in your head.
That.
And so so the Flanagan Girls ended up being a sister story, and this was my debut novel. It was so, I can't even put into words the feeling of writing the end and proving something to myself that I can write long form. I can be a novelist. That was a dream I'd always had and always wanted to accomplish and never had really told anybody.
Okay.
And so that's the Flanagan Girls. The first book is from the youngest sister's perspective.
Okay.
Each book is from each sister's perspective of how they grew up and how it influenced them in adulthood.
And I know when you write the 3rd one, you're going to call me.
I am going to call you.
Because I'm the middle child.
Yes, it is. It's the middle child, and it's called On Her Own Terms.
Yeah.
Because she wants to live life on her own terms.
I love that. And
Yeah.
so you've kind of shared this a little bit, but are there any specific messages you hope to create with your work as you move forward? You're kind of tackling one thing at a time here.
Yeah, so I like to say that I write stories about women because every woman has a life worth feeling. And I really think it's just to show that we've all experienced so many things in our lives, and we're still able to evolve to become and move into becoming all the different versions of ourselves, because this was not what I expected.
Yep.
But I'm embracing it.
Yes,
You know, like
that's
my disease knocks me down, moment to moment, minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day, but I can still find joy. And that's all I wanted to. Originally was finding purpose in my day, since I wasn't going into the classroom, but now I'm finding joy.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what about, you kind of shared what you found about it for yourself. How about what you hope to give messages in your work to others? What do you hope people get out of your stories, your novels?
Yeah. I would love it if a reader, when they pick up the book, I hope that, because I write emotionally, character-driven books that are really emotionally driven.
Yeah.
And so I just hope that of all the characters, and there's always a comic relief character in there because you need that balance,
Right.
but they'll feel seen. Someone will read the book and find a character they relate to, or the experience they feel seen. The next book in the Flanagan Girls, Regret No More, is that it's following Becca, the oldest, and her mom in that journey from that mother-daughter relationship from adolescence to adulthood, and how it changes, and how as adults we start to see our parents as people. And so
We
making
gain more
that connection.
understanding.
Yes, yeah.
As we get older, we're able to see things differently.
Yeah.
From a different perspective, and we're able to understand more decisions that were made, or why someone, chose X, Y, or Z.
And that can be really tricky,
Yeah.
navigating that.
Well, that's why in the conversations, where are you going to let go of those things that are still holding you down in that generational backpack?
Well, I'm even just thinking about you.
Yeah.
Thinking about the fact that here you changed your whole career because your baby rolled over, and I've known many parents who have done that.
Yeah.
And then that very child was the one who came to you.
I didn't even put that together. I can't wait to call him and tell him that.
Came to you when
Yeah.
you were forced to make a change.
Yeah.
And told you what you should do.
Yeah.
That moment is so pivotal
Yeah.
to me, because seeing that was kind of a moment for me, because when we were having our conversation, and Diane, I want you to pipe in on this one, we came to the conclusion that we can continue to write more chapters.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
And we're never done.
Yeah.
Like, we're all reinventing ourselves, and we can just turn the page and continue to write. And if we don't like what we wrote, we can just tear that page out and throw it away.
Yes.
I mean, we can continue to start over. And you're a great example. And I love your story for that reason, because there are so many little bits and pieces that you've shared with us that have resonated with us. And I just wanted to bring that little nugget
no,
to
I
the
like it.
surface
I didn't even connect that, so I'm gonna definitely share that with him.
I didn't want to assume that you had, but I think sometimes when people look at it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's all of my books. I write dual POV because I like for you to see the different perspectives. You know, and I think that's why when I started writing the Flanagan Girls and I realized it was a sister story, it was because each sister has a different experience, even though they grew up in the same household with the same parents.
And that's so important for people to remember, that each individual experience is different.
Yeah.
It's never the same because they're themselves.
Yeah.
And you know, I grew up with two sisters, and we each are very different in our own ways, but we have similarities, and we're never going to have lived the same life.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and my standalone From This Day Forward is about a young married couple that have to face their first obstacle. And they had all these amazing plans for their life. Then life is like, great, here's your obstacle, now what? And what they planned changes. So from this day forward, what are we going to do? And it is dual POV from the husband and the wife, and it's really them having to figure things out. Again, going back to, you know, the way they were raised, their generational trauma, and things they experienced in their life before, how it affects their decision making moving forward. And this is the first time as a couple they have to face it together and figure that out. And that is part of growing up at any age.
Right. Diane, do you have any thoughts on what we're talking about?
Well, I just can't wait to hear, like, how do we connect with you? How do I get your books? How does this work?
You can connect with me right on my website, wendyhallerauthor.com. Sign up for my newsletter. I include my readers in my process. I take them along. For my newsletter subscribers, they all have, my cover designer designs 3 covers, and I send it out to my newsletter subscribers and I let them vote. So all my covers have been voted on, or have been chosen by the readers, which is great. And of course, I'm on all the social media, Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, you go to.
Are you under a certain handle?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wendy Haller _author, and I am. I do a lot of events around the state and New England area, so you can always find me there.
Briefly tell us about
Maybe
the book organization. Yeah, the book organization that you travel around with.
Nutmeg Book Fest, Nutmeg Lit Fest, sorry. So we do a lot of events around the state. I also do some of my own. I have Barnes & Noble coming up in Meriden, as well as I'll be at the Nantucket Book Festival, and all around the state we have a lot of good stuff. So look up Nutmeg Lit Fest right on Facebook, and all of our events are right there.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Oh my goodness. Well, Wendy, you have been such an inspiration. I am so excited, and you have been the perfect example of the silver lining show, that we always look for a silver lining, and that's exactly what you've been doing. So thank you for setting that example for all of us to enjoy and involve ourselves in and read your books. As we end this show, I have a little video to share that is some inspiration also, different because it's all about fashion and what you should pull out of your closet for the summer's events and parties. So here's the video.
Hi y'all, Diane Trone here, coming to you from Nordstrom in South Park, Charlotte, North Carolina, and I am so excited about all of the beautiful things that we have coming up for spring, fashion-wise. So first of all, bum-ba-da-bum, Pantone color of the year is Cloud Dancer, which is white, and I just love it because it's a palette. So for example, look what we did here, just a plain white blouse. It's a palette. You can add any scarf to it. You can do whatever you want with a very simple white palette. And long scarves are really trending for the spring, so make sure you pick up one of these long scarves. You can see what I have on here is my pearls that represents the Pantone color of the year, the Cloud Dancer, the white, and then WGSN is promoting teal as their color of the year. So you can see I have teal and I have the white, which makes it a really fun pop of color and an explosion. They're calling it an explosion of color for the spring. So I can show you some more things that are really beautiful. This orange dress here, this is like a tomato red. Love this, it's an explosion of color. I love things like the lemon yellow over here. I'll show you if you have a wedding to go to. Look at the lemon yellow. Isn't this just beautiful, long or short, depending on what kind of summer wedding you have to go to. I will also show you that we have polka dots because polka dots are trending, and we're very excited about all the polka dots. And jean dresses are trending. We have runaround dresses, short ones. I'll just show you a couple of those. Adorable, nice and lightweight. Throw it on with just some cute tennis shoes. I can show you some of the shoes that are trending. We have pearls on everything. Look at these cute tennis shoes with the pearls on. Adorable. We also have the ballet. Look at these baby pink ballet, I guess runaround shoes. They're made like a tennis shoe. They look really comfortable. And we have also some long dresses too. These are the long jean dresses. Can't you just picture yourself running around in some of these beautiful dresses this summer, going to parties? There's one more beautiful one right here with the beautiful gold buttons down the front. And my friend Sandy is here, so we're going to switch camera here. There we go. Awesome. Perfect, Sandy. She's so beautiful in her dress. Oh my gosh. She has on this beautiful Veronica beard. It twirls around. It's, oh, look at, she's taken the jean jacket off. I love it with the jean jacket. But as a beautiful dress for the summer, picture yourself going to a wedding, an outdoor wedding, or going to something fun like a pool party. What do you
think? It's
think?
nice and lightweight, and it's so comfortable. I would just enjoy wearing it at any kind of summer party.
And you look so beautiful in it, Sandy. Thank you so much for being our model today. So I hope everybody has a very fashionable summer, and we'll talk to you again soon.